Christmas Day in Australia, 2016. Okay, we're talking nasty bitches. Nasty divorces and separations. Any other nasty stories there? Nasty stories. Everyone gets a lot of fun out of other people's misery.
Yeah.
Any other nasty divorces you're aware of?
I'd have to think. You caught me on the spot there. A lot of sort of women, I think most women, and most men, or most women, which they say talking about, are really, in the right circumstance, they can be very supportive and very good. But
Sure.
sometimes they met the wrong man, and the man is not able to, I suppose, tickle their fancy, meet their needs, and then the relationship starts to break down. And
what do these bitches bring to the table, but why can they be so picky? What's so special about them?
well, the girl would say, "You got me."
So fucking what?
Me.
So fucking what?
Well, you got me.
So fucking what?
Wash your mouth out with soap. What are you talking about? You got me.
Yes.
That's their attitude. Well, you got me, my whole body and soul, or body, probably not soul, and I'm worth you spending everything on, and but this is back to relationships. I think I've been lucky, even many years ago when I met people I went out with, and the ones that weren't real compatible, they just said to me, "Listen, we're not compatible," and they didn't try to use me or exploit me or get money from me or anything.
Sure, but you don't have to be stupid and gullible and cough out coin, do you?
No.
You set a limit and that's it, don't you? It's like a poker machine. You set a limit.
You can have a situation where this Vietnamese man's a good story. He came in, and his wife, when they were coming to Australia, the pirates attacked the ship.
Oh yes.
And they picked a few attractive ladies.
Yeah.
And his wife got picked.
Yeah.
And obviously they were taken away, they were raped and then thrown into the sea.
Yes.
You don't want evidence. And because his wife, she said, Buddha, spare me and I'll do something for you.
Sure.
So they didn't pick her, and the pirates, what they normally do, they flood the engine with sea water,
Sure.
so it can't go.
Yes.
And the ship just, they don't normally just kill everybody. But that's because
nasty.
they've got a little bit of a human streak.
Sure.
But they've taken the rape and whatever, and cut your arms. But they wouldn't kill anybody, because they sort of probably got a little bit of Christianity there with them or something, or good humanity. So they put seawater into the engine and let it drift.
Yeah.
And fortunately for them, of course, the American destroyer picked them up and rescued them. But so she came to Australia eventually, and he had 3 beautiful daughters, very attractive girls,
Sure.
all professional. One was a dentist, one was something else, another professional, one was an accountant. So 3 daughters turned out very, very, very beautiful and very successful
Sure.
academically. And but the husband was like a male chauvinist, one of those MTGOE, or men, one of those men.
MGTOWs.
Was those MGTOWs, yeah. Very chauvinistic.
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, so in the end, she decided, no, I've had enough of this man. So it's hard in their culture to just divorce and walk out. So she decided she's going to become a nun.
Sure.
So she, went to Paris, because the Buddhists in Australia, Vietnamese background, their seminary type place,
Okay.
whatever, is in Paris.
So this is Catholic nun or Buddhist nun?
No, Buddhist nun.
Buddhist nun. Yeah.
So she went to Paris, they shave all the head off,
Yeah.
whatever. And her husband, before she went, her husband said to her, look, don't go. She said, look, all right then. Look, I promised Buddha that I will do something for him and give you my life.
Yeah.
But once the kids grow up, couldn't do it
sure.
before. She had to bring the kids up. But now they're grown up, I will do that. So you can have a pick.
Yeah.
You can have all my money from the superannuation from my work that I worked.
Yeah.
She worked in the Commonwealth government.
Sure.
Or I'll give that money to the Buddhist monks,
Yeah.
and I'll stay with you. You can
Sure.
take your pick. I'll give all my money to the monastery,
Oh, I see.
the Buddhist monks, or you can have the
take the
money
money.
and I'll go.
Sure.
She said, what do you want?
What did he do?
The money
How
or
much
the
money are we
box?
talking about?
About $100,000.
I'll take the money.
Well, he had to think about it, and he took the money.
He took
I
the
said,
money.
why do you take the money? He said, well, if I didn't take the money, she'd give the money away and then change her mind anyway. So I took the money and off she went. Right here. So she went away, and he wanted to come back. No, she wouldn't come back. So then
He could find a younger model anyhow.
he went to Vietnam and found a younger model.
Yes.
Found a beautiful young lady.
Beautiful.
And she, obviously loved him dearly,
Yeah.
and extracted a lot of money out of him. The mother was sick, the father was sick, they needed
Yeah.
a new tractor, they needed
Yeah.
this, they needed that. And he said, oh, I'll have to go back to Australia because I'm working. So he went back, he said, oh, look, I'm almost ready to come, but I just need this, I just need that. He kept on paying and paying.
Yeah.
So he went back to Vietnam and said, look, come. She said, yes, I'm coming. So they got married there. And then he said, look, I just can't, my father's sick, but I'll come later.
Yeah.
So he thought, oh, come on.
Yeah.
So he came back to Australia, and he thought, look, I've had enough of this.
Yes.
So then,
He went back to the Buddhist wife?
she wouldn't come.
No, she wouldn't come. Okay.
So then he met a lady in Australia who's got...
Vietnamese woman.
Well, Vietnamese woman.
Okay.
And they shifted in together.
Okay.
So that was all right for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden, the Buddhist nun arrived back and said, I'm back. I'm coming to be back with you. And the lady from Vietnam arrived and said, I'm ready to shift in. You're my wife. I'm your wife.
I see.
And I said, what do you do? He said to me, what should I do?
Yes.
And I said, well, the best thing for you is buy a pair of Reeboks and run for it.
What did he say?
Alternatively, get a big bed and have them all in there.
So what did he do then?
Well, he had to think about all this, and he wasn't the ideal man anyway, but he decided to stay with the last one, because the first one went and came back, and he wanted to be a nun and didn't want to become a nun. The second one, well, he married her and she extract more money out of him, more out of him. And the third one, well, he met her, she shifted in and she was with him. So he stayed with the last one.
That's a pretty good idea, isn't it?
Yeah. And but then he said, even though he did that, he then mentally all in turmoil, because yes, he liked his first wife, because they brought the kids up together. She was very attractive lady, and very lady at peace, like very nice character, and spoke beautifully, softly, and was really a nice lady. He was an asshole compared to her. And then the second one, I never met the second one, but she'd obviously,
Pissed him off.
saw, well, here's a sucker, and she milked him dry. And then she realised, hey, well, I better, obviously she got the shits in Vietnam and didn't want to stay there, so she came to Australia. And and the third one, well, that's, you know, it was, he thought he'd stay with her, and it's probably more compatible to him, and she could, you know what to do. And this is a situation, you know, like I had my father had a friend, which is another story, had a friend who, he was a real tough chauvinist.
Sure.
And he used to beat up his wife and do all sorts of things to her, horrible things. And so one day she came to my mother's place, and I remember her because I remember her well. She was very nice to me, and had her hair done, came along, and you know, my mother was making those Ukrainian vareniki at the time, and she talked to me, and she said her daughter had gone overseas to New Zealand, and the other daughter was doing something else. She was really upset about that, and her husband was beating her up. Anyway, so she went home that night and committed suicide.
I see.
Now, I went to the funeral.
Sure.
I've never ever been able to find her grave, actually. I don't know. I think you can ask and they'll show you where it is. But I didn't.
Sure.
I remember going to that because I took a day off from school and went to the funeral.
Jesus.
So I went to that funeral. Then he then met another woman.
Sure.
An Australian woman. And this Australian woman knew how to control this guy. He was the biggest pussy out. You know, she just told him, do this, do that, and he did it.
Yeah.
Whilst the other one was soft and he, you know, did nasty things. So maybe the shock of having the other one commit suicide might have impacted, changed his behaviour. But the second lady, the Australian one, she just, you know, she would tell him, do that, and he would just, you know, just go behind her and, you know, just take it. And yet the first lady was very nice to him. He you know,
he was tough.
He was tough with her, and so it's sad these things. So
Yeah.
You can different people, like if you meet the right person, you're both compatible, it can work even though. And then again, like a third case, I heard a story where there's a famous actress, and I don't know that I don't remember names very well, and she was a very tough lady. This lady,
Sure.
and she was married to a husband, but she loved this other guy, and
Sure. she
was probably one of the biggest bitches out.
Sure.
And yet with this guy that she lived with, them, you know, this not her husband, the other guy, she was the most giving and loving of any person he could ever be. She did everything for him.
Well, I suppose that's how it is, isn't
because
it?
they clicked.
They clicked.
They clicked,
that's what they need,
and they had something there which was working.
Clicked.
And that's what happens to a lot of people. Like, you know, we're all looking for that person that clicks.
Sure.
And we meet people, we marry them maybe, but we don't click, do we? You know, they're all right, they're 80% okay, but they're not 100%. So how do you find the 100%? Well, if you're lucky, you do. And sometimes it's us that, you know, it's just not them, it's sometimes it's us that are at fault too. But to get the right person to click, it's very hard, isn't it? And if you do get the right person that clicks, and they work hard, you work hard, you support each other, one, you know, financially, like when we're talking about financially, you can be very, very successful because you both help each other and going for the same thing. Mm-hmm. Whilst if one person wants to travel and the other person wants to do something else, build house, buy houses or something, it's not going to work. You need to be both on the same page. You need to get your ducks in a straight line.
Yes, no, that's a very interesting story there.